Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're hearing this or you're watching this. Ladies and gentlemen, non-binaries, and welcome to this panel discussion on the transformative power of Car-Free Day. I am Leonard Ogunwede, and I'm honored to be your moderator for today's conversation. Car-Free Day, as we all know, or many of us will know, is an annual event celebrated in cities around the world, where individuals are encouraged to leave their cars at home and explore more sustainable modes of transportation. It's not just about a single day. It's about reimagining how we move in our community and the impact it has on our lives and the environment. Without not diving too much into bringing us to speed on what it's going to, because that's what our panelists are going to be doing today, let me begin by introducing our esteemed panelists who bring a wealth of knowledge and diverse perspective to this discussion. On the first hand, I have, pardon me if I didn't pronounce your name well, Dr. Gofde Usiabolu. If I didn't pronounce it well, please do pronounce it yourself. Please, can you please introduce yourself better to people, including your background and your connection with the concept of Car-Free Day? You are still muted, please. You can unmute yourself.
Right, can I be heard now?
Yes, please.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Gosde Usiabulu. You are very correct with your pronunciation. All right, I'm a lecturer at Novena University, a private university in Nigeria, of background with energy and petroleum studies. I'm an African climate ambassador, trained and certified by Egyptian government and Ministry of Environment and Solidarity. I'm a founder of Useful Energy and Environmental Companion, and a professional with not less than 6 professional body in Nigeria, and ultimately international organization. Maybe I'll just stop there. Thank you.
I get it. Thank you very much, Dr. Usiabolu. My second panelist on the call today is no other than Ruth Reje Basiokim. I don't know if I pronounce it well, but please tell us, introduce yourself, including your background and your connection to the concept of Car-Free Day.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Leon. Thank you very much, Dr. Godsday. So my name is Ruth Reje Basiokim. I'm a medical laboratory scientist and the founder and CEO of Let's Speak Africa. So for me, Car-Free Day is an opportunity for us to take care of our environment. You see the world today, the cities, the industries, they have damaged our ecosystem, and oxygen is not even clean. Do you understand? We have so much carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide in the atmosphere. So the Car-Free Day is an opportunity for us to try our best in our own little way and purify our atmosphere, get rid of so much noise, and make the environment more conducive for human beings, make it more eco-friendly, and patronize other more environmental friendly means of transportation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a very good one. And I know what you guys are doing at Let's Speak Africa. You speak about so many things. Recently, you just finished your 14 days of activism about the environment. Kudos with what you're doing. Okay, so today is about Car-Free Day. So let's dive into the discussion. And please, we will explore various aspects of Car-Free Day, its significance, its broader implication on sustainable transportation. So I will urge the panelists, the two of you, So please feel free to share your insights. And for audience, please don't hesitate to jot down your questions for the question and answer session later. And if you cannot wait until that time, please just drop it into the comment section. We will be looking at the comment section as we are going forward. Would like to hear from you as well. So if at the end of the day, when we are ready to do the, what's it called? The question and answer, please, we will implore you to raise your hand and state your name and your affiliation before asking your question. But that's when the time comes for that. So now let's dive into the question of the day. And before we go in, let me mention this. This discussion is going to last for 1 hour. We started by 10 minutes past, and we will be ending by 10 minutes past 5. It's going to be 1 hour. You can hold me onto that. I don't joke with my time. Okay. Now, I'm going to go to Dr. Let me get the name. I need to put that name in my head. Osiabolu first, right? And I want to ask you, are you with me, Dr. Osiabolu?
I'm with you.
Oh, awesome. So, if I may ask, what is the significance of Car-Free Day? And why is it important for our community and environment, in your own opinion?
Wow. Very, very important. Thank you for this opportunity and this question. Yeah, importance of Car-Free Day can never be overemphasized. In preparation for this particular event, this panel section, I even realized that in certain part of the world, they take as much as a full week. That is 7 good days, some 5, just to tell you that its importance can never be overemphasized. Now, let me come back home. Do you understand that when you talk about Car-Free Day, it is not an absolute immediate solution, but it's a call for action, a global call for action, a reminder of the necessity of awareness. When you check about in less than a decade now, though they'll be talking about climate change, but in very recent time, you just realize that the emphasis are increasing on a daily basis. Why? That's because of anthropogenic activity. Naturally, there is a climate change. Without climate change, the earth will not be habitable. But what necessitated the need and the desire to regulate the anthropogenic, that's the human activity, it is because our development increases. Because we enjoy a lot of things, as a human being, we try as much as possible to continue without considering sustainability. When you talk about sustainability in terms of environment and the resources vis-a-vis energy is very important. And as an energy and environmental professional, we understand there's a massive in the oil industry. We said we will leave the environment the way we met it or better than we met it. But many of the at times it's not, it is easier said than done. So the Car-Free Day is a clarion call, a wake-up call, a reminder of the awareness that there is need, that what nature has given to us, we have the responsibility to manage it for our own good. I don't know if I answered. If there's any area I've not covered, please you draw my attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Osiabolu. Let me come back to you, Ms. Ruth. In your own opinion, why do you think Car-Free Day is important to the environment and to the community?
Okay, I feel Car-Free Day is important because we human beings, the activities of man have upset the earth. We have used resources not sustainably, and then the production, the fossil fuels, and lots of carbon emissions are destroying the earth. Like human beings have so much carbon footprint. So though Car-Free Day is not addressing all the environmental issues, but it's a step in addressing one. We just finished the World Environmental Day, where the focus was on plastic pollution, environment. There's so many environmental issues, but one of the greatest and one of the most profound is carbon emission, the air pollution, noise pollution, especially air pollution. You see, human beings have been cutting down trees without planting them. We have so many, I can't even say, there's so many activities of man that are upsetting the earth. So the Car-Free Day is just an opportunity to create awareness and also to advocate for more eco-friendly means of transportation. It's also a means of taking some of the carbon out of the atmosphere. Just imagine a day with fresh air. Just imagine a day with fresh air. So in as much as many environmental organizations advocate for planting of trees, it's also an opportunity to tell people we can do without cars. Sometimes the runarounds we do with cars are not very important. That's the truth. So there are so many things we can do without just to make the environment better. So it's a day to, not just that, it's also a day to promote walking. You know that we live in a society where we, especially in Africa, I don't know about Asia, but Africans, we are very sedentary. For us to just go from one place to the other, we'll just book a ride, we'll take cars. And as a result of that, it's unhealthy. Our new sedentary lifestyles are one of the causes of some diseases like obesity. Now, we try to promote body positivity, but too much fat isn't good for the health. So this is also an opportunity to promote walking, cycling, skating, moving around, and not just having a very sedentary lifestyle where you just come out of your house, you enter into the car, you go to where you want to go and come back. Sometimes, especially for short distances, you can try your best to walk, to cycle, or do other things that promote a healthy lifestyle. And finally, Car-Free Days helps you to ponder and look around you. You see, sometimes when you're walking, when you're taking walks, it helps you to see the world around you for what it is, see the city. So it's an opportunity to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Ruth. So if I could get what you're saying correctly, what you are saying is it's significant because it offers a tangible way for individual and community to take action towards a cleaner, healthier, and more sustainable future. You talk about health, talk about carbon emission and the other things. And Dr. Usegbolu talked about raising awareness about the environmental and social benefit of reducing car usage and encourage people to consider more eco-friendly transportation options in their daily life. Okay, great. I'm still going to stay with you, Ms. Ruth. How do you think Car-Free Day contributes to reducing air pollution and combat climate change on a local and global scale?
Okay, so this is what happens. When we drive cars, they emit carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. Then let's talk about not just cars, our generators, the industries around us, but one of the greatest contributors to carbon in our environment is the cars we use. And most rural environments are becoming industrialized. So even places where there were no cars before, now everyone is using cars. So what happens is that when we take a break from using these cars, we limit the emission of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide to the atmosphere. Okay, that's basically it.
Thank you so very much. Let me go to Dr. Usegbolu. You are an energy expert. As a matter of fact, you are a petroleum engineer. That means you work in the fossil fuel industry to a larger extent. So how does the two work together? Because you produce fossil fuel as a petroleum engineer, but you're advocating for a cleaner environment. How do you think Car-Free Day contributes to reducing air pollution and combats climate change, both in local and global scale?
Yeah, please, can I get a question again?
So how can Car-Free Day contribute to reducing air pollution and combating climate change on a local and global scale?
Okay, thank you. Very important. You see, if you don't remind us, a human being, of certain action, you might be doing the wrong thing and be thinking what you're doing is right. In this part of the world, specifically Africa, there is this study that we discovered at a certain point, even this gas flaring as a result of the fossil fuel production, petroleum production, we could discover not until very recent, in Netherlands, there was 0% flaring. In US at the time, it was 0.6. But in Africa, in Nigeria specifically, that's about 10 years ago, it was 17% flaring. And now when you look at it, you discover that this technology were transferred. And those who help us to exploit these natural resources, because we need development, we need advancement, and you need energy. Without energy, you can't advance. Your system, your laptop, your devices, your vehicle, you can't. But however, the way we go about it, our usability, is it normal? Car-free day bring to the senses a call to action, reminding us, even though that started this stuff, they understand. And that's why you could see from their own places, they make sure they reduce to the barest minimum because they know the importance. But for us, and I'm specifically grateful for this opportunity and this carol call by this group, African and Asian, because we need to wake up. It's not everything we just swallow all because we are craving for development and advancement. There is need for us to open our eyes and our senses and understand that first, for you to enjoy whatever the money you're going to be getting from the exploration of energy, specifically the fossil fuel hydrocarbon, you need to be alive. And beside that, you also discover that because of this get it, big money, and self-aggrandizement, and show kind of lifestyle that is common in Africa, you discover that insecurity becomes a thing of the day. Now let me bring it to you. Do you know that Car-Free Day enables you to know more about your environment, relate with the community? And that's so because some of us, we already used to, you sleep in the AC, you go to AC office, of course, you drive the AC car, you come back, perhaps some of us even worship in some churches or worship places with an AC. AC car, get back to the AC home, and we call it enjoyment, sincerely. Those who invent these things, they understand the limitations. But if we close our eyes, not understanding where to say no, the limit, we will run into big problem. So the oil industry, before the environmental implications that we have in that, they already know. That's why I quoted that Mazin. It's a general Mazin in the oil and gas industry. When it comes to, you meet the environment, keep the environment the way you meet it, or better than you made it. That's what we do when we put decommissioning after a certain exploration. Thank you. I don't know if that all about. So I can pause
I love the way your word of knowledge in the energy sector into this discussion. Okay, but I want to ask you something before I go back to Ms. Rowe. What do you think are the economic benefits of reducing car usage for an individual?
All right, very, very important. The truth of the matter is, do you know, before, about 4 years ago, I did a course with ISP France. They call it, it's a school that specializes in petroleum refining and petroleum industry. They are very good, they are special. So they also have a partnership with Nigeria, a particular school here, University of Port Harcourt here. So I did a program with them, and I discovered that these guys have been ahead planning what they call sustainable mobility. What that's talking about? What you are doing now is good. You are enjoying now. But what is sustainability? Have you bring it in? And what sustainability? What you are using now, not destroying it, and reserving it while submitting your need, but also reserving it for the future generation to still use without altering or destroying both the environment or denying the future generation to use it. Economic value.
Dr. Osabulu, let me stop you for a moment. Right. I know you are very robust when it comes to the environmental issue, and to a larger extent, you have so much word of knowledge. But I will prefer if we can like streamline into the car-free day, right? So, not using your car in a day, what does it give you? Like, what is the economic importance of it for you as a person? Let's use you as a case study right now. The car-free day, what is the importance of it, the economic importance of it for you as a person?
Boy, that's a very clear one. Thank you. Do you know that you spend less? What they spend per day? The more you drive your cars, the more they wear. The wear and tear will cost you. There is economic implication, financial implication. Your money do you spend for that day? And ultimately, a global head, not just individual head. Do you know that if we have less cow, there will be less accidents, less untimely deaths? These are very crucial. Maybe I'll stop there.
Wow, that's great. Reduces your money, wear and tear, reduces your car maintenance. For some of us who like to drive and park where our car is secure, you have to pay for parking. Right? You won't have to pay for parking because you are taking. Oh, thank you very much. And let me go back to Ruth. Ruth, what is the economic implication on the community if you actually go through your through car-free day as a person? Don't worry, I know you don't have a car yet, but at least you're an expert in this.
Okay. Yes, I don't have a car yet. All right. So, first of all, it helps you to save fuel. Now, I don't know about other countries, but Nigeria, the fuel price is on another level. People are complaining because of the removal of the subsidy. But it's not just Nigeria, it's affecting the whole world. Because of the crisis of war, the lockdown issues, things are more expensive than they are supposed to be. So imagine saving all the money you use, maybe not all, part of the money you use on fuel. Imagine saving it. It will be so much. We can even include generators for people that put on generators and make fuel and diesel generators. So it helps you to save money. Number two, it helps save the cost on wear and tears of your car. So you know that the more you use a device.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you there, Ruth. Dr. Osabulu already picked. We know there's so many benefits when it comes to individual. Now I want you to focus on the community. What is the benefit to the community?
Okay, thank you. So you say that of recent we have people suffering from lots of metabolic ailments. For instance, example, diabetes, obesity, hyperlipidemia, high cholesterol. Like we can mention like so many metabolic ailments. In those days, we heard them people that are 60, 70, now even people that are 30. When I was working in the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital, even people in their 20s have issues with let me use a simple word. Okay, let me say cholesterol and fat. People have issues with this, and that can also be traced due to our sedentary lifestyle. So I feel like if people learn how to walk more, cycle more, and avoid cars, we can save up on health. It helps you to save up on health issues. So if people use less cars, they will walk more, and it will also reduce the metabolic ailments we have and reduce the money we spend on health issues. I saw a picture recently of the world's fattest man in the 1900s. That person in this day is a regular human being in this day, like a regular person. They'll say nobody will even call the person fat, they'll call the person chubby, because I don't know, it's not evolution, it's our diet and it's our sedentary lifestyle that has caused the people live. So people are like the weight gain is so much in this part of the world. Therefore, I'll say my major point is that these car-free days help to save on health. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I know you're an health practitioner, so you tend to go towards health most times. Well, let me add one or two. In the comment section, according to what you mentioned, you just add on the comment section that in Pakistan currently, there is a lot of pink eye going on. I think in Nigeria, we call it Apollo. The Yoruba side call it Apollo. I think some in the medical world, they call it conjunctivitis or something like that. I don't know. I can't recollect vividly. So that's part of the environmental issue. And I'm also saying that in Sri Lanka, the environmental temperature has been rising than previous years. So the benefit for the community for car-free day, number one, like you mentioned, health is important. If you do your car-free day, obviously, the local businesses will enjoy. There are so many places you just zoom past with your car. You don't even know they exist. But when you walk, when you jog, when you cycle, you're able to look. And I think Dr. Osebulu mentioned it the other time, that you're able to see what is in your environment. And for people that live in congested city, like someone like me who live in Lagos, and Dr. Osebulu that lives in some part of Port Harcourt also experience some kind of congestion. Just imagine you have 5 cars in your house and you only took out one because all of you carpooled, and everybody does the same thing. There will be less traffic congestion on the road as well. So this is a part of the little things that connect the community into the discussion. Okay. So let's go to, who should I go to next? Mini, many more. Okay, let me go back to Ruth. What other sustainable means of transportation do you think are available that people can incorporate into their daily life?
Okay, thank you for that question. So I would say number one, which we all know, is walking. If you do not really have to take a car, you should walk. You can walk because of the health benefits. Number two is cycling, motorcycles. It's not only children that should use motorcycles, or not only rural areas. We can incorporate it into our lifestyles. And number three, skating. I don't know how many of us know skating shoes. Yes, they can be used. And like Mr. Leonard said, just a few minutes from now, carpooling. So if everybody in your house has a car, you people can decide to use one car instead of everybody. You understand? Everybody driving the cars to go out. You can do that carpooling. And also, you can decide to use public transportation. You know, the public transport, the cars are always on the road. So if most people decide to patronize the public transport, instead of adding their private cars on the road, you see, it will help to reduce the emission of carbon on the atmosphere. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Osiabulu, what other ones, do you have any ones in mind that you want to add?
I didn't get that clearly, please.
Like, do you, she had mentioned carpooling, public transportation, cycling, walking. Do you think of any other means of transportation that we can use as an option against the use of cars that use fossil fuel?
Okay, in place of, okay, don't use the car-free day, you want to see how will people, if I get your question clearly, how people can still transport themselves with least to wherever they needed to go. Is that what you asking?
You get it. You get it.
Good. Very, very important. You know, public transit is very important. They are part of the world where you just use the train.
I think we lost Dr. Osiabulu there.
When we come back now.
Okay, you are back. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So it's very, very important that we could always do that. If you want to travel, of course, there are places that still uses, not just for the fun of it, not only for tourists or only, you can use horse, you can still use camel. And car free there, you have emergencies, there must be, yeah, you can do that. And that automatically you're reducing the carbon, the amount of carbon emission for that day. And don't also forget, there's something I want to mention before. Do you know that it is not just saving your money or the car alone? Do you know that you also, by walking, you patronize your own neighbor in the community, in a way boosting the economy of the society vis-a-vis the community.
Thank you very much, Dr. Osiabulu. But as we mentioned all this, I want us to put some things into perspective. While you are walking, don't say, oh, they said car-free day, we can walk on the road. Please use the pedestrian lane. And when you are using the crosswalk on the road, what they call the zebra crossing in the countries or communities that have it, please look well and obey all the traffic signals. And if you are doing your cycling, I know most of us don't like to wear helmets, but it's best for us to wear helmets. What I'm trying to say is let us put in mind the safety precautions when we are doing all these things. And there's one thing that was not mentioned I would like to mention as part of this. There's something we call telecommuting. I don't know, some of us might be hearing it for the first time. And this is basically you work from home. If possible, eliminate the need for daily going out where entering cars, working or something like that. For few of us, we work from home. I work remotely 247. As you're saying right now, I'm right in front of my office, and this is my office. It's just inside one corner of my house. That is where I work from any day, anytime, except when I'm going out for church or something else. So we can do that. Utilize video conferencing like we're doing right now, and other remote work tools to make things work. And there is also something that is called walking school buses. It might sound somehow. Out of walking, then school buses come together. Okay, so this is basically, you have a bunch of students, a bunch of children, maybe like 10, 15 of them, that can just come together and walk to school if their school is not that far, under the supervision of an adult. So instead of having all of them inside the moving bus, they're actually walking. The bus is their leg, basically. So things like that can really encourage us to do a lot of importance to the community and to ourselves. Okay, let me go back to.
Just go ahead, please.
Go ahead, please.
Do you realize that the car-free day also helped the government policy to develop necessary infrastructure that will help maintain this? Because sometimes some persons actually want to work, But when there is no pedestrian, you can't be struggling. There are some places, because of lack of development, if they want to work, but you have to use leg and start struggling with vehicles. And that, of course, that's dangerous for your health. So car-free day bring to awareness the need for us by reducing it, but where do you walk them to go? That position was coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Osiabulu. Let me just pick up this question as we move along the way. It's already in the chat box by Evini Ndioma. We don't know where you are tuning in from. So for people that are just joining us, we would like to, if you want to drop your comments, you can please put your name and where you are tuning in from so that we can know the country you represent. Dr. Osiabulu, let me throw this question at you. The question is, if you use public transport, for example, a taxi, will it not be inconvenient for a car-free day?
Obviously, no.
Why did you say that?
Yeah, I could say that because there are quite a number of reasons for that. Inconveniencing a car-free day, no, because there are needs that needs to be met within that day. There could be emergency. Now, if the doctor needs to get to the hospital, the nurses
Dr. Osiabulu, let me stop you. Let me stop you for a bit. The question is asking is, if as a person, I go into a taxi,
okay,
the taxi will still emit some kind of O2 and CO2 and every other harmful gases into the air. Is this not a contravention to the car-free day in any sense? Does it go against the car-free day concept?
Not really. In the first place, let's view it from this perspective. When you say you're curbing crime, you must have heard the message from the security perspective that says that you cannot stop crime, absolutely, but you can reduce it to its bare minimum. If you take it from that perspective, you discover that car-free day, when I made my first presentation, I remember I mentioned it. That see, it is not an absolute, immediate absolute. Now, when you use public transport or transit, what it helps automatically reduces the number of vehicles. If we're hundreds in one train, or if we were 90 or 30 on bus, imagine if all of us were to be driving individually in our cars. The amount of carbon emission will be more and be high. Don't forget I mentioned it. Even the carbon emission that necessitates energy transition in this period is not that the nature itself does not release carbon. Without emission, there would no, without the natural release of carbon emission, the earth will not be habitable. But the increase is as a result of human developmental stride. That as a result, when you hear anthropogenic activity, that's just what it means. We want to develop our place, we want to enjoy it. But once you use public transport, that automatically, if we are having 100 cars and you are not having just one car, you don't need the soothsayer to tell you the result. Your guess is as good as mine.
Thank you so very much for that. Okay, another person just answered that question. He said, instead of using car individually, that is the car, please, I don't know if I pronounce your name well, but if you want to comment on a question or you want to ask your question, please do well to write your name and where you are tuning in from so that we know the country you represent. Adika says, instead of using car individually, if we prefer to use a public transport to drop us off on our destination, it can definitely reduce a lot of emissions. Simply put, there will be less carbon emission in the environment, and that goes hand in hand with what Dr. Osiabulu just mentioned. Ruth, let me come back to you. we're talking about car-free day. I live in Nigeria, you live in Nigeria, Dr. Osebulu lives in Nigeria, we have other people living in other part of the continent and the Asian continent. What countries? We know car-free day started in Paris in a few years back. And can you tell us the story about Paris? How they do it and how they started the Paris without a car day or stuff like that. Can you tell us a bit of that and the lessons we can learn from it?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Leonard. So, Paris was doing started it using, I don't know, it's a French word, Paris, a voiture. I don't know if that's
Paris Aventure.
Okay. I don't know if that's what it's called. And they started the program to prove that Paris can Paris without a car. So you see, so they came together, the government actually came together and they stopped using cars for I think a day. And then there have been so many countries where this car-free day project has been successful. And it's even shocking that it's even in the Western countries where they started the production of cars. In Colombia, they have started the car-free day. And I think theirs has even been for 1 week, 5 days. They started this project and it has been done. Even in France, I think France is like the most successful country with car-free day, where they have gone for a very long period of time without cars. Other countries like Indonesia, New York, and many Western countries, many Western communities have adopted this car-free day, some for 1 day, some for 5 days, some for even 1 week. And it has been very successful. Therefore, if these countries where they started the production of cars, the Western countries where the production of cars started, have been able to key into the car-free day, how much more us that just a few centuries ago we adopted the use of cars? So I believe it can be successful. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And if I will mention this, New York City even tried to do something so substantial. On Saturdays, there's something they call the Summer Street. Saturdays of August, 7 whole miles is cleared out of cars, encouraging tourists, cyclists, and every other person to come in. And government is making a lot of money on that because tourists to come in. It's a way of making money for themselves, and at the same time, the environment gets to enjoy what needs to be enjoyed. We only have one more question before we open the main question and answer session. Like I promised at the beginning, we are going to be using 1 hour, and right now we are only 17 minutes away from that 1 hour. Okay, so my next question, I'll go to Dr. Osebulu. You mentioned something like this before, so I wanted to expatiate a bit more on it. What role does government policy play in promoting sustainable transportation?
Wow, thank you. Okay, just before I answer to that question, I'd like to quickly mention, even in Denmark, as well as in Switzerland, between 1973 and 1974, this is one of the car-free day was also one of the ways to alternate, ameliorate the energy crisis, oil crisis, and that's always happened. So I just added that as an added-on to what Madam Ruda just said. Now let's get back to how does it affect the government policies. First, it brings to mind the consciousness of the safety of the masses. 2, it enhances the infrastructure development of the city. 3, it's important to know that it helps you to organize your economic activity. Now, the government are the people responsible. When you hear about United Nations, it is not just individuals that just wake up on their own. We are talking about the government of parties. Conference of parties are governments and governance of states, countries, continents. So what are they doing? They have the power, the authority to institute. This is what should be. This is not what should be. So you could see, even as professionals, we do not just have, without the support of the government, our own policy from our workplace or an organization cannot be implemented without the government backing. So we need the government to ensure the safety of environment and individual, of course, are enshrined in the law that govern the nation or the city. Has this answered your question? But if not, please let me know when we move forward.
Thank you so very much. I think that goes a long way. That goes a long way in it. The number of it, a number of things that governments can do, but we cannot mention out everything today. Okay, but let me go to Ruth. When we're talking about the bike and pedestrian safety law, using Nigeria as a case study, do you think we have anything that protects a bike or a pedestrian safety in this country?
Okay, using Nigeria as a case study, it's really funny. Even the zebra crossing in Nigeria does not work. I don't know, some of you come from sane countries, like even Ghana, they respect the zebra crossing law. But in Nigeria, if you stand on the zebra crossing, somebody can even ask you. I think on social media, I saw a post saying, are you a zebra? What's that supposed to mean? So people don't respect laws in Nigeria. So you have to just be careful. Like Mr. Alio said earlier on, if you're using a bike, get a helmet. And I rarely see cars use the pedestrian. I've never seen it happen. So as an individual, you need to just try to protect yourself by walking on the pedestrian walk. And also when crossing the road, let me say, like when we're little, look left, look right, and look left again when crossing the road. Thank you.
Okay, look left, look right, look left again, then you move. Okay, so I want to emphasize this option, carpooling and ride-sharing initiative. The government could offer incentive for carpooling and ride-sharing. Currently in Lagos, about a few months ago, the Lagos state government reduces the price of the buses that is controlled by the government by 50% because of the increase in fuel and the what's it called? The subsidy remover that is affecting a lot of people. That goes a long way. And last year, Lagos state government actually ran the car-free day. I've been looking over the internet if they're going to do it this year, but I've not seen anything. Hopefully, they are going to do it. So, at this junction, I want to yield to our audience. Thank you so very much, our great panelists. We have a lot of things to discuss, but well, there is no time much. So there's a question in the chat box that I will want to read out. At this point, please, if you have any question, if you want to speak directly to the panelists, I will advise you to please raise your hand, but I'm going to read the question in the chat box first. But if you wish to just type in your question, you can just type them into the chat box. Then we'll pick it up from there. So any of the panelists can pick this question. It's from Francina Nkosi. I don't know where you're from. Oh, so sorry, from South Africa. Francina from South Africa. It says, or she, I don't know if it's she or he, sorry, or non-binary. How can we change people's mindset living in suburbs who are ignorant? Who wants to pick that up? Dr. Oshabulu, will you want to pick that? Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Okay, I'd like to say that you have to start from somewhere. So this year this is the first time Let's Speak Africa and most of the organizations, Fruits of Liberty, are actually jumping on these things. So I think that you should start with somewhere. Start by talking to people. If they use WhatsApp, you can do what we are doing. Start by creating awareness on WhatsApp. Just start from where you are. Then if you have an opportunity to talk to the government, I think start from where you are to create awareness in your community. If the awareness is not created so much this year, just build on what you have done this next year on other environmental days. Just keep building, and one day it's going to affect your whole community. But I don't think you can just start one day and change and create awareness all across your community. But if you're a very influential person on social media, I don't know if social media is really used in your community, you can also use that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Osabulu, do you want to add something to that?
Okay, I think from what Ms. Ruth said, I believe the question was, how do you promote the car-free day within your community? Is that the question?
No, it said that how can we change mindset of people that are ignorant in the suburb to the car-free day? Because most of us don't even know that car-free day exists. So how do we change the mind of people living in the suburb that are ignorant of the fact?
Okay. Yeah, just to add to it, you just know, there's this general maxim that talks about that a little drop of water, it can form an ocean. When you continue to make a reference and begin to create this awareness, and before you know it, even before the day on the 22nd of September, it has already started. Some persons are here on call today, and even in a briefing room, they've not heard anything about car-free day before. Some are already going to check the internet to find out, Google it all. So this thing does exist. So that's about it. You won't get it done overnight in one day, but continuing awareness. And that's what I mentioned earlier in my presentation, that it is a call, a reawakening of the awareness. But you keep doing it mouth to mouth. You make a post in your social media. As a program goes on like this, you make a reference to them. You say it by saying to one person or two, three persons. Out of the 3, 4 persons you have spoken to about car-free day, one person will mention it somewhere to another people. Before you know it, it will spread. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. So I have another question from W.H. Depa from Sri Lanka. Thank you for tuning in from Sri Lanka. He or she, or non-binary, says there is a problem of using public transportation in developing countries. However, because the facilities are less. Now, the question is, what can we do to empower the community when they face difficulties while using the public transportation? Doctor, did you hear that? Did you understand the question?
How can we, if I get that right,
what can we do? What can we do to empower the community when they face difficulties while using the public transportation?
Well, if I get that clearly, I heard what you said. If I understand the question from the perspective the person is asking from, look at it. Is it that they do not have sufficient public transport system, or they are too rich that everybody have several cars, or the infrastructure is not there? Because we need to first, if it is because they have to drive less, that's even good and better. But if it's for public, no, issue from the perspective with which he or she is asking, let it be specific. Specificity is required in this question, so we know how to tackle. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. If I understand the question, it's basically, most of the countries, let me use Lagos, for example. Lagos have places where the Lagos operated buses gets to, and some places the bus does not get to there. So you have to take some other form of public transport to get to where you can get a reduced price. I think that's the kind of thing it's coming from. But anyways, I hope you're able to answer the question the way.
All right.
Deepa, we don't have much time anymore. We only have 5 minutes, and I promise we're going to use 1 hour straight. So that there's another question right now in the box says, I would like to ask, that is from Evini from Cameroon, will there be car-free day campaign held? If so, where will they be? Okay, if I get you correctly, I think you're asking, will there be a campaign held in person, right? You can drop a comment for me in the comment section, Evini. Are you talking about having it in person? If you're talking about having it in person, yeah, okay. If you're talking about having it in person, I think I can answer that question. There will be campaigns held in various locations in the world. But as for us, this group, we are focusing on having it online, where people just choose to do things without a car that day and post it on the internet, tagging us while showing the solidarity about the day on the internet. And people tend to see that it is achievable to have a car-free day, and we can still go ahead doing all our things without any kind of hindrance whatsoever. I'm going to give our panelists 30 seconds each to give them their parting words. We only have 3 minutes to go. So, Dr. Osebulu, can you give 30 seconds? Your take home for us today.
All right, thank you. It's our responsibility to take care of our environment. Car-free day is a clarion call for action necessary for that. Let's keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Osebulu. Ms. Ruth, please, your parting word for us tonight.
Okay, we need to be the change we want to see. We cannot change the whole world immediately, but if you want to change the world, start by making your home bed and start by doing the little things in your little corners that can one day lead to tremendous impact in your society. So join the car-free day today and do something on Friday that will change the world. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. As we approach the end of our discussion tonight, I'd like to thank our panelists and for sharing their expertise and insight on this discussion. We've covered a wide range of topics related to car-free day and sustainable transportation. And I do hope that this discussion has been informative and inspiring to you. Our panelists has given us their takeaways, their parting words for tonight. Thank you to our panelists, our audience, and everyone who contributed in making this discussion a success. We hope this conversation continues to inspire positive change in our community on the day of the event and on the day of the car-free day itself and beyond it. Please, I know we are not all on video, but if you would like to join me to give our panelists a warm round of applause and for job well done. So this is where we're going to be ending for today. My name again is Leonard Ogunwaide, and I'm the CEO of Face of Liberty International. So from Face of Liberty headquarters, this is FLI Broadcasting. Good night, and I'll see you later.